organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, Iowa to DC, Saturday's Women's March takes over the nation. And later, a new brand, a student organization, makes a new name for itself.
A heartbreaking loss for Iowa wrestling, but there was more action inside Carver Hawkeye Arena this weekend as well.
All that and more coming up. Daily Iowan TV starts now. Good morning and thanks for joining us this Monday morning. I'm Nikki Crossway. This past weekend, politics was one of the only things on everyone's mind. From the presidential inauguration to the first press briefing, all eyes were on Washington, D.C. But one other event drew an enormous crowd. Daily Iowan TV reporter Cole Johnson has more on what exactly was happening in the nation's capital.
This past weekend, a group of Iowans headed to Washington, D.C. to join over 1 million protesters for a national women's march.
This was incredible. This was just amazing.
The march's goal was to have a place for all people to voice their opinions and acknowledge a divide in the country.
I think it was a good experience to see those of us who are not in agreement with the election and who are very concerned about what the next 4 years are going to bring.
From signs to speeches, local Iowans were able to leave their mark and express their opinion at the nation's capital. This wasn't the only march. There were protests happening across the country. These protests were receiving mixed reactions across social media, including from newly inducted President Trump, who took to Twitter to share his opinion by asking why these protesters did not vote. He then went on to say in a separate tweet that peaceful protests are part of democracy. This is what democracy looks like. Those that marched were not just women and were all there for different issues.
I think we've started the conversation. I think we mobilized a lot of people, and now we just need to pick up from here and see where this can take us.
This march is just one of many events that are planned. A new campaign is being launched called 10 Actions for the First 100 Days, where Women's March National will be tackling various issues every 10 days for the first 100 days of Trump's presidency. This has been Cole Johnson reporting for Daily Iowan TV.
The support for the Women's March wasn't limited to just big cities. Local men and women showed their support by gathering in Iowa City to give a send-off to the fortunate few who were able to make the trek to D.C. Those that stayed participated in their own march, proudly showing their solidarity for the cause. The Women's March was found in all 50 states and in over 75 countries. The support for the Women's March was nearly eclipsed by the sheer amount of protests in response to the inauguration of President Donald Trump. Iowa City is one of the many cities to protest the historic day. According to the latest polls, the amount of citizens protesting in the D.C. area was estimated to be about 500,000 people. Last night, the University of Iowa notified students through email about a sexual assault that took place on campus between midnight and 3 a.m. that morning. The report included the assault took place in a West Side dorm and was committed by an acquaintance of the victim. This has been the first reported sexual assault of the semester. Last week marked a new transition in a UI staple. The organization known as STAT decided to revamp and rebrand itself. Daily Iowan TV reporter Christopher Cervantes has more on FAN.
Well-known student group welcomed January 19th, the student organization known as Students Today, Alumni Tomorrow held an event to mark their official rebranding. The well-known student group welcomed the students of the university with food, drinks, and fun in order to introduce them to the new org, Future Alumni Network, or FAN for short.
For over a decade now, STAT has kept its identifier, which begs the question, why change the name at all?
Another common misconception with STAT was a lot of people kind of thought that we are like a statistics organization, when really our main focus is networking and trying to get students more involved.
It is not all a simple name change, though. The newly dubbed org has a new focus that they believe will benefit students in the long run.
we are focusing much more on networking and trying to get students to become more involved with networking so that they can get their future kick-started now. One of the major things that we're pushing now is that if any student organization would like to have a networking event, they come through us and we will plan that networking event for them.
I was lucky enough to run into local celebrity Herky the Hawkeye, who decided to give his own thoughts about FAN. With an endorsement like that, how can you fail? Reporting from the University of Iowa, this is Christopher Cervantes, Daily Iowan TV.
Well, it was a little dreary and misty coming into work this morning. Let's toss it over to Ryan Scott in the weather studio to see what we have in store for this week.
That's right, Nikki. We are expecting a little bit of rain the next couple days, and the dreariness will unfortunately continue. This morning, temperatures are in the upper 30s, and our afternoon high will just reach the low 40s with cloudy skies. In the evening, we'll see temperatures cool down to the low 30s with cloudy skies. And tomorrow morning, bring an umbrella because there's a good chance there'll be a rainy walk to your classes. Now let's take a look at our 6-day forecast. Like I said, we are expecting a little bit of rain the first couple of days of the week. Tuesday, we can expect an afternoon high in the low 40s with a 60% chance of rain. Wednesday, we're looking at afternoon high around the upper 30s with a 40% chance of rain. No precipitation is expected Thursday, but those clouds will linger, so be a little cautious the rest of the week, and we'll see an afternoon high in the low 30s. Friday, our afternoon high will be in the upper 20s, and this weekend we're seeing low 30s for highs and more cloudy skies. That's all we've got here in the weather studio. Stay dry out there, Hawkeyes. Nikki, back to you.
Iowa's Tippie College of Business recently adopted a national student organization called Money Think here on campus. This program involves student mentors teaching high school classes more about how they can be financially literate. Reporter Alexis Tanzi has more.
Last school year, UI students co-founded a chapter of Money Think here at the university. Money Think is a national organization whose goal is to help alleviate the economic gap by educating students on financial literacy. The UI chapter teaches students at Iowa City High and West High schools.
Teach them about things such as credit and debit cards, savings accounts versus checking accounts, really basic financial literacy topics like that.
Right now, the program is only taught to students who come from low economic backgrounds. But Money Think hopes to make financial literacy education universal by the year 2030.
Once in a while, you'll see a light bulb go off in a student. And I had a student that was buying a $3 bag of chips every day, and I sat down with her and figured out, like, you're spending $90 a month, you're spending like $1,000 a year on chips, and that was like a big moment for her.
Money Think is beginning to recruit for new members in the next couple of weeks. The program is open to people of all majors, so anyone can apply. Moneythink.org/apply has more details. This has been Alexis Tanzi, Daily Iowan TV.
For all you cycling enthusiasts, the planning process for RAGBRAI 2017 is in the works. The event organizers have decided to simplify the previously tricky track to what has been recognized as the third shortest and easiest in the history of the bicycling tour. Despite this, the projected number of participants is as high as ever, continuing the success of the 45-year tradition. This year, RAGBRAI is taking place July 23rd through the 29th. College football may have come to an end, but the big game is right around the corner. The Atlanta Falcons and the New England Patriots will face off on February 5th at NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. After the Green Bay Packers and Pittsburgh Steelers dual upsets, football fans can finally choose who they're going to cheer for. Sad that Hawkeye football has come to an end, but after a busy weekend, there's a lot more to look forward to. Liv is here in the sports studio to give us the lowdown.
Yeah, that's right, Nikki. There was a lot happening in sports over the weekend here in Iowa City, especially inside Carver Hawkeye Arena. And we have your weekend recap. It all started Friday night when the number 3 Hawkeye wrestlers hosted number 2 Penn State. Nikki Crossway has more.
Arena hosted the sold-out duel between ranked number 2 Penn State and number 3 Iowa. Iowa started the night with 2 big wins from 125-pound Thomas Gilman and 133-pound Corey Clark, giving Iowa an 8-0 lead. Penn State then returned with 2 big wins from 2 of their top-ranked wrestlers, Zane Rutherford and Jason Nolf. Iowa's 174-pound Alex Meyer picked up 1 more win for the Hawkeyes, but in the end, Penn State came out on top, winning 7 of the final 8 matches to bring them to a 26-11 victory over Iowa. Iowa's head coach Tom Brand says improving individual decisions is key to moving forward.
Make your decisions for your team. They're individual decisions that impact your team, and I am a hardliner when it comes to making sure that we do the right thing.
Coach Brands and the Hawkeyes hope to redeem themselves as they take on number 4 Ohio State next weekend here at Carver Hawkeye Arena at 7 p.m. Friday. This has been Nikki Crossway with Daily Iowan Sports. Now let's send it over to Alexis and Carver to check out how the women's basketball team did this weekend.
Thanks, Nikki. The Lady Hawkeyes came out Saturday night strong against Minnesota. Allie Disterhoff and Coach Bluter talk about how they played good team basketball overall.
I do think we've put together 4 really good team wins, team games, I should say, and that does just give us a lot of confidence going forward. I think we've been making progress all year, and I think we're just like Coach said earlier, we're playing really great team basketball right now. We have a great inside game, and we're also developing that outside game, and when T can lead that break, Kathleen, and we can get out, that's fun to play like that. It's fun to hit the next person when they're open, so I think we all feel really good about that, but we want to keep getting better every single day.
Nice to see, but really feels good because I feel like this is 4 good games that we've put together in a row now.
The Lady Hawkeyes closed the game at the end of the fourth quarter with all-around scoring from Megan Gustafson with 19 points, Allie Disterhoff with 17, and Kathleen Doyle with 11 points. Overall, the Hawkeyes came out strong and did what they needed to do in Big Tens. Next week, they played Maryland as they have a bye week. Back to you, Allie, from track and field.
With the track and field season well in stride, the Hawkeyes hosted UNI, Florida State, and Iowa State in the inaugural Larry Rizorek Invitational Tournament. The tournament's namesake, Coach Rizorek, was on site to receive an honorary reward to commemorate his legendary coaching career for over 30 years at Iowa. The Hawks did him proud, winning both men's and women's point totals thanks in part to a strong performance in the 60-meter men's hurdles from Aaron Mallett, earning a 7.77 time that is best in the Big Ten and 3rd in the country. Hawks overcame a strong performance from FSU in the triple jump and the pole vault to win the tournament title. Hawkeyes going to stay right here for the week as they host the Big Ten premiere next weekend in the same location. So until then, we're going to throw things over to Zach to see how the Iowa tennis team held up this weekend.
So, the Iowa Hawkeyes women's tennis team came on Saturday night to face the Creighton Blue Jays. In doubles, the Hawks team came away close and won 2-1. And in singles, the Iowa Hawkeyes swept the Creighton Blue Jays 7-0.
Elise Van Hoevelen was a big factor for the team's success in singles and doubles play. Elise and Zoe Douglas defeated Ashley Ishimura and Darby Rosette to get the double points for the Hawks. Elise talks about how she was able to pull away with the win.
For me, it was like the energy. The energy has definitely increased throughout the matches, the intensity throughout, and just that helps you as an individual, but it helps every other court. They know you're winning, it just helps the momentum on all the other courts.
Even though the Hawkeyes are 2-0, head coach Sasha Smith talks about not losing focus and getting ready for a tough Huskies team.
Hard work. I just told him locker room, get back to hard work on Monday and just get ready for a good, scrappy Northern Illinois team that'll come in and just try to keep getting better, not, never be satisfied.
The Iowa Hawkeyes will be back in action on Saturday, January 28th at 12 p.m. as they face the Northern Illinois Huskies. Now back to Olivia at the studio.
This will be the first time in program history the 2 teams will compete against each other. The Iowa men and women's gymnastics teams were also busy this weekend. On Saturday, the women upset number 18 Ohio State on the road with a season-best overall score of 196.175. This is their 2nd conference win of the season. The ladies will be back in Carver this weekend to take on Maryland. And the men's team hosted an undefeated number 18 University of Illinois Chicago Sunday afternoon. The Hawks swept all 7 events and 12 gymnasts ended the day with 29 season bests. We will have more on the home opener tomorrow. And that's all I have for you in the sports studio. Nikki, back to you.
Thanks, Liv. That's all we have for you today. Be sure to check us out on dailyiowan.com and pick up a copy of the Daily Iowan for all the latest news between Monday and Friday. For Daily Iowan TV, I'm Nikki Crossway. Have a great Monday, Iowa City.